welcome to Governance Today, that program that brings you every spicy discussion when it comes to leadership and governance in the country. Today is another day, the 18th of January 2019, and we'll be talking so much around the build up to the 2019 general elections, and Nigerians are itching to know what's happening with the political parties, what's happening to the candidates, how far can we go as a country to ensure that the dividends of democracy is given to the people. Like we always do on the program, we have where we have our candidates or representative of political parties come out to talk about the agenda, what they think they can do differently to ensure that the country is rolling well with the dividends of democracy for the people, because the people tend to deserve the best of the best. And this evening, I have my guest in the studio. He's one man that is an advocate for good governance, good democracy playouts. He has really pushed forward to ensure that Nigerians enjoy the dividends of democracy. And I'm talking about no other person than the national chairman of Advanced People Democratic Alliance Party, that's APDA, and he's also wearing two caps. He's also the chairman, Presidential Candidates Forum here, and I'm privileged to have in person Alhaji Shitu, if I'm allowed to call him that way. I'm sure he's going to correct me. Alhaji Shitu, Kabir Mohammed, MON. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Nice to talking with you today.
Okay, it's good to have you.
Good evening, Nigerian.
Okay, it's good to have you on set.
Thank you.
So, just like I mentioned, there's so much about leadership, and Nigerians want to find out what's going to happen differently with the build up to the 2019 general elections. But let's start with leadership in Nigeria. What is leadership for you in the last 4 years?
For us, leadership is to sail the ship of Nigeria into a glorious moment where welfare of the citizen matter to the leader, where we have security, where for us, for past 600 years, we have been exporting raw materials from this continent of Africa, and they will say Nigeria is one of the richest country when you come to raw material. We want to see different leadership. We want to see that we look inwards. We want to see that we provide employment opportunity for our teeming youth. And you cannot do that even between now and 1,000 years if we will still continue with the type of economic policies and economic development we are on. We get nowhere. So we are looking at a situation that in the next 4 years, leadership should change. We should start looking inward. We believe that any leader Nigerian will have now have to close Nigeria, have to go into World Trade Organization, have to renegotiate our stand with World Trade Organization, because we need to let the world know that the country is going down. And for us as people, we must start looking inward, and World Trade Organization have to help us in the sense that if you need our raw material economically, you come to us. We must now, as a leader that we need now should be a leader that will draw world to Nigeria, not for Nigerians to go into the world. The world should now come to us, not for us to steal our money and take to the world. We want the world to come to us, take comparative advantage of these God-given resources that God has given us, and then allow them, whoever needs to tap to these our resources, should bring their industry here. They should process their goods here. If you need our cocoa, come to Nigeria, process your cocoa, export it to anywhere in the world. That's what I mean by saying the world should come to us. If you need our gum arabic, bring your processing plant here so that you can export from here to anywhere in the world. It is time that we must change the gear of leadership. It is time that leadership must be for service. It's time that Nigeria must take politics to be service, not politics to be a profit or venture. And it is time that while you talk of our economic development, we must also marry our political development vis-a-vis our own culture. What I mean by that is that how do you, as people, few Nigerians come to Abuja, sit down and share money, and the only thing, so we as a leader, if we are given this mantle of leadership, we want to change our political system, where e.g., we will make sure that the politics go back to the locals.
Okay.
You go back to the world. You go back in the sense that we don't allow legislators to stay in Abuja. You go back to your constituency offices and report to Abuja after quarterly. You know what I mean by that? That means whatever you want to oversight as a function should be oversight within your own area. And you should be able to know that if the executives give a job in your own constituency, you look at it vis-a-vis how is that development is going in your area. We want to change the face of Nigerian political system. We want to see that we introduce what you call proportional representation. And that's why I say we'll marry our own political system with our own culture. Proportional representation, because if you look at the empires, how it was run, how we've been running our government before the advent of the Oyinbo to Nigeria, to this continent, we will talk of proportional representation, where if Party A win 51% and Party B was able to get 49%, Party A goes home, and Party 9 have to wait for another 4 years, and that breed violence.
Okay.
That breed what you see now, desperation. And that make our own democracy not stable. In order for our democracy to be stable, we bring proportional, where if you win even 25% of the vote, you are coasting home with something in your hand. If you win 35%, there are percentage that you coast home with. You'll be able to get to legislative houses where you can propagate your own ideology. You can be able to be put into executive where you can also participate and put your own ideology into use. Because what we need in this part of the world is those brain, and not to allow ourselves over political system to now take competency and throw it on and then just take whom you know. So competency and skill will be the bane of our reward as government. That is the type of leadership we think Nigerians need now.
Okay, you're listening to you so far. You've actually said so much in a few minutes. I asked you to talk about it. With all the things you've listed out, you've talked about competence, you've talked about proportional politics at the ward level down to every stage of leadership. Can we x-ray the leadership of Nigeria with this present administration, which is close to the bill of the election? How would you rate the leadership in the last 4 years?
For us, if you look at where this government met 2015 Nigeria and where we are today, I don't like playing politics with our country. No politics. We must look at the country as it is, and we must make sure that the country comes first, not our interest. Immediately you put your interest before the country, then you cannot put a judgment to Nigerians. The judgment I observe, and for us as a patriot, is to see that in 2015, I cannot even sit here with you. I cannot come to this your studio by 8 because I'll be afraid that there could be a bomb blast. It is obvious. Today, we have relative peace. We can move somewhere. Where we can have some pocket of problems are far east there, in some bushes where you have criminality, which is normal and it can be bred by any community or any people. Then, if you look at developmental project, for us will be objective. You look that for the first time, why the government between 2011 and 2015 put so much in infrastructural development, this government continue from there. If they have deviated from those developmental projects, today we wouldn't have having to ride our rail between Kaduna and Abuja, taking rail between Ibadan, Lagos, Abeokuta, that they are already promising that is going on. And then you look even at the level of our foreign reserve. You see that now we have a little robust up to 43 billion as our reserve, and that gives us credit. And you know, for us, we believe that if we look things objectively and we look that we Nigerian is for ours, either we look down on ourselves and start propagating, or we now propagate and way that, yeah, you can vote for me. I've told you, yeah, this government have taken us to so place. For us, if you give us opportunity, we'll turn it from there to not, we must be objective. We must not, because I want to be a president, I say, all what they've done is too. We have to move out from there. Our country need, because we have vultures waiting. Who are these vultures? We are talking of weapon sellers, who are behind all these insurgent and other things, who are ready, who are praying assiduously for us to, as a people, to plunge this country into chaos. And as soon as we plunge this country into chaos, will I be sitting with you here? The next thing, all those money, all those our reserve, they will now, it will deplete, because you have to start buying weapons, you have to start buying aircraft, you have to put, and as you buy, they bring it down. We suffer, we start running, we won't have security, we won't have food. Is that the type of country we need? Therefore, in order for us to have a country that my own children and your children will come and say, oh, during our parents, this is what they do. I always say, we must be able to be patriotic. We must be able to be, our campaign must be issue-based. This government, 2011 to 2015, have done this. 2015 to 2019, they have done this. Let's give them this credit. Let's give them where they've gone wrong. Then we, if we come in, this is what we'll do, which I've analyzed to you.
Yes.
I'll look at the economic development of the country. I'll turn it around. Instead of me going to borrow money from any bank or going to do, I want the world to come back to Nigeria. On the political side, I'll say, look, let us rejig. Instead of us to be paying millions of dollars as allowances to legislators and things, let's upturn it. Why can't our legislators stay back in their constituency, either yearly or monthly or quarterly? They come to Abuja and deliberate and go, these are what we want to do. And this is how other of my colleagues will advise that they should, because they could be better than me. I could be better than them. We now sell our manifesto, we sell our belief, we sell our ideology to Nigerians. If they buy it, good. But we should desist. I want to use this opportunity to tell Nigerians that whoever is coming to them to create hate speech does not like them. Because if we plunge ourselves into chaos, the same people will take their aircraft. Their children are not even here with us. They will go, they will stay in London, they will stay in UK, in Dubai. Me and you will be here running from pole to pole, from one of our village to another village. While they are there taking, enjoying, and then the weapon sellers will be paying them as percentage. This is what my fear, and that is what I'm saying, that Nigerian, it is time we open our eye. It's time that we look at issue-based political parties and vote right. Vote for me anyway.
Okay, you've heard from our guest. He's been saying so much about leadership, what should be done differently. Issue-based campaigns should be what Nigerians should be looking out for. A lot of issues has happened over the years, political parties, and also with the reign of different political parties. We've had the leadership rule from 2011, 2015, and they should be trademarks. That is his word. And I'm still going to come back to you, but let's go on this break. And when we return, we'll have other discussions lined up for you. So don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. We're still here, and it's your program, Governance Today, where we x-ray a lot of issues around the political class. And I still have my guests with me in the studio, the national chairman of ABDA, and he's been x-raying leadership and talking about his agenda and his political party's agenda. And he's mentioned so much when what he will do differently or his party will do differently. I'm still going to trade back to you. You talked about infrastructural development and then the rejigging of political practice, and then bringing the world back to Nigeria. Agriculture for this administration has been one of their major focal points aside fighting corruption and looking at insecurity. What would you do differently because you want the world to come to you?
Good. For us, we are agrarian society up to now. I will now take us from that agrarian into developed agricultural communities. How do you do this? We would like each state or each locals to take comparative advantage of their crop around them. I'll give an example like Maiduguri. This Sambisa forest you are talking, we make sure as military advance in capturing those forests, we follow it with plantations of gum arabic. And as we are putting up gum arabic plantation, you are also following it up with processing plants. So that as you're creating employment along the line, you are creating value chain. And this will absorb immediately the youth of Maiduguri. And as soon as you are able to get the youth to start economic activities and they start making money, who will draw them to violence? Or who will say they should go and join Boko Haram? So this is one I'm giving you. If we can go to somewhere like Bayelsa, who will promote aquaculture, aquatic culture. What do we mean by that? I'll get trawlers for the young ones to go into IC, catch streams. You understand? Crawl and other things, fish and fishing. This is moving more. It will absorb them more, employ more youth of the Niger Delta, and then put up rice plantation in those creeks. And we'll feed even Africa and the world through those Bayelsa Creek by putting up rice plantation. Not only putting the rice plantation, as you are putting the rice plantation, you put up processing plant. And I know the question, let's get to maybe Oyo. And I say, okay, Oyo, Undo, and promote cocoa. And we say, look, we cannot allow you to export raw cocoa any longer. What you do, as we are planting new improved seedlings, we also now start putting up processing plant. And as you do that, you find out that you are absorbing the youth into going to those factories to work. You have those that, because our farm will now be mechanized.
Yes.
You are not going to just carry hoe and cutlass. It will be mechanized. It will now be processing as you go on. And you find out that you absorb the youth in that area. If you go somewhere like Shaki in Oyo State, where you have vast of land, it cut across to Kwara and to Benin Republic border. These are areas that massively you can put up a lot of crops. And there you also put up processing plant. What will come to your mind is that, where do you get power? Abi, to power this your processing plant you are calling. Then, when you are talking of power, we do away with what you call national grid. Yes, let national grid be there, but allow people to be able to generate, licensing companies to generate, to transmit and distribute, and pay through NERC to the federal government. And you now find out that if you do this, you start having processing, what do you call, economic zones. And in this economic zone, somebody will come and provide electricity, somebody will come and provide processing plant, somebody will come and provide water, somebody, you see, activities, economic activity will take off.
Okay.
And then people, youth will get work, investors will start making money, the country will be at peace.
Okay.
These are little we do on the economic side. Then you cannot just leave it like that. You now also make sure that the World Trade Organization, we go to them, reject our agreement, and let them give us some holiday, maybe 10, 20 years holiday. Let us close our country economically. You don't import anything. We need to transfer technology. Therefore, we now base our, what I said, reward on skill. We promote vocational educations. We promote technical education. We promote skills. Somebody may be a laborer and earn money than you, that you are director in office. If you promote skill-based economy,
okay,
your reward will be by your skill. What do you put on? You don't just come and wear white-collar job. You sit down in office, you just write 2 things, and then in the month end, you're asking for 30,000. No. What can you put on? Are you ICT? Are you processor? What are you? Are you an engineer? What type of engineer? You see, electric. Your skill should serve you. And that way, when you promote vocational educations, you promote technical educations, you find out that people will get job. You don't base your reward on conventional certificate. Just go to school. You can go and read theater art, and tomorrow you are director of engineer. They say you are MD of nice.
Okay.
You understand? So we must. These are how we will want to bring Nigerian out of wool.
Okay. Well, you've heard him. He's been saying so much about APDA's plans ahead of the 2019 election, what they intend to do differently. Don't forget our phone lines are there on your screen. It's time for you to call in and contribute your quota. He's here. He's a party carrier. He's a party member. He's also the national chairman of APDA. So you can call in and ask him the questions you've always had on your mind. What would he do differently? What would the party do differently as Nigerians are prepared to go to the polls come February 16th and March as well for the elections? Well, I'm going to go back to what you've mentioned. You've talked so much about the economic activities. We've talked about skilled-based and leadership pattern, which you intend to see how people can get more employment. People can become entrepreneurs themselves. Aside this, I'm going to ask you based on security. You've mentioned the fact that security has downplayed in terms of the insurgency when it comes to bomb blasts and other issues. What would your party do differently when it comes to tackling insecurity following the insurgency we have?
For us, first of all, I think alternative dispute resolution will come into this. We'll look at why. First of all, what caused this problem? Who are behind this problem? Then we look at, okay, alternative dispute.
Okay. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. I'm good. Can you turn down the volume of your TV set? Okay, if you've done that, you can speak to us. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Okay, I think you have to call us back. Okay. Hello, good evening. Okay, please, you have to turn down the volume of your TV set if you want to be part of this conversation. You need to turn down the volume of your TV set. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Benue.
From Benue, what's your name?
Good evening.
Good evening, what's your name from Benue?
Good evening.
Good evening, please turn down the volume of your TV so you can hear me. Or move away from there. Okay, you have to call us back. While our viewers are there calling and trying to contribute, we're looking at insecurity, which your party is going to look at a different measure. What is it that we can do? You were saying something earlier.
Yeah, we first of all look at alternative disputes. We look at how do we solve the problem. We call the leaders. We sit on table with them. They are Nigerian.
Okay.
And we will we'll investigate to know why and who are behind.
Okay.
And we negotiate. And the process that you know it will be carrot and stick. And you first of all negotiate, agree with them, and then as government we keep to our own agreement and allow so that you can have peace. You know, you can always be a win-win-win. You must also sometimes give out and allow peace to reign. So we make sure we discuss with them. We make sure that we meet some of their demands, and then we must also let them know that they don't have any other country like Nigeria.
Okay, let's pick this. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from? Can you speak up a bit so we can hear you? I think from Niger State. I didn't get you. Can you speak up a bit?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello.
I'm with you. Go ahead. What's your name and where are you calling from? Just speak up a bit.
I'm calling from
From Niger State. What's your name? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Go ahead. What's your name? What's your name? Okay, I'm barely hearing. Let's hear you. What's your contribution?
Hello.
Go ahead. What's your contribution? Okay, I'm struggling to hear you. Just try and call us back and try and be audible enough so we can hear you. Okay, we're looking at alternative disputes resolution, how your party would look at the issue of insecurity and how they can sit down and resolve the issue of insecurity. If I didn't get you wrong.
That is, you are talking of insurgents.
Yes.
And then on the security, you have to deploy technology.
Okay.
And this technology, because every day technology get improved, and as government you must be on your toe. You must make sure that you also improve on the security, and you must also make sure that the welfare of the men, officers and men of the military is taken care, because people are serving the country.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off a bit. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Daniel Yusuf. I'm calling from Niger State.
Yusuf from Niger State. Go ahead, what's your contribution?
My contribution was not enough. I'm trying to correct the aspirant that you are talking to.
Okay.
You said something from the issue of the security, and you tried to say that there are going to be a resolution, negotiation. How can a leader in a country who leads the people in peace to negotiate with a party? What type of negotiation is he going to do when he's been elected as a president of Nigeria? That's
Okay.
my question to you.
All right, thank you so much, Yusuf from Niger. He's asking, what kind of negotiation are you looking for when it comes to insurgency, when you come in? Let's pick this and then we'll pick that. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Amadou Appa from Adamawa State, Tongo local government.
Okay, Amadou. All right, go ahead.
Appa.
All right, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead. What's your contribution? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, probably have to call. I'm sure the network is a bit jammy there. Okay, you heard the caller. How do you intend to sit down and discuss these issues if you're looking at a way of sitting down to discuss issues when it comes to insurgency?
You see, for 5 years now, we are facing with, if it is a civil war, you know your enemy.
Okay.
you are now fighting enemies you don't know. It is better you call them out. It's just like what we had during President Yaradua with Niger Delta. They were almost the same pattern, but President Yaradua deployed a way in which he has to now talk to the militants and bring them out, and that helped us to be able to. When I'm saying, that's why I say it's stick and carrot. They must be able to see that you have the strength as government to overrun them, and in that process you must also be able to show that you can also negotiate. And if they drop their weapons and ambition, that as a country they are still a citizen of the country. So we are not saying totally you just go on, but you must deploy a means and then deploy modern technology to be able to fight, because this conventional fighting cannot help. You must deploy a lot of modern technology to fight this war, and you must also deploy alternative dispute resolution. While that is going on, you are also going on with other aspects of the fight.
Okay, looking at I'm still going to compare the present administration right now, because Nigerians are just a few days to the election, and that's the time Nigerians need to pick up their voters card and elect who they want in office. And here you are giving us a breakdown of your manifesto.
Yeah.
And so you've spoken about insecurity, you've spoken about agriculture, you've spoken about what of education for the young? Looking at the ASU strike that's been on for a while, what would your party do differently?
That is why I told you. I said we will look more on vocational educations,
okay,
technical education, and you see these are areas. And then when your reward base is based on skill, people will go for skill acquisition.
Okay.
Not on conventional certificates.
All right, let's pick this call. Hello, good evening. Hello?
Hello?
Good evening, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Hello?
Go ahead, I can hear you.
Hello?
Okay. Go ahead, I can hear you. What's your name? Mr. John from Niger State. All right, go ahead. What's your contribution? So are you saying there's nothing Nigerians can do to change what's happening? If I got you properly.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, or probably you have to call us back because I can barely hear you. Or call the other line. Let's see. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Moh'D Shitu is my name. I'm calling from a steel company in Kogi State.
Okay, from Kogi State. Mohammed, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Moh'D Shitu is my name.
Okay, go ahead. What's your contribution?
So my contribution is that I want to ask, if at all you give me what is going to do with the steel company in case he became the president of this country?
I didn't get that, you said?
I understand you.
I want to ask you a question.
What do we do with
What is the
Ajakuta?
country going to do on the issue of the steel company?
Okay, I'm going to throw it back to him. He's here. He's listening to you, so he will answer that. All right. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Let's pick one more and then we'll go. Hello.
Hello?
Please, can you turn down the volume of your TV?
Hello?
Can you turn down the volume of your TV? Okay, I'm sorry, I can't pick that because I can't hear you if your TV is louder than my voice here. Okay, you got the question from the viewer there. What
Yes.
would be done with Ajakuta?
Ajakuta is one industry that has been in my mind. Ajakuta, I've been going to Ajakuta and trying to see that Ajaokuta is put in proper use as far back as 1995. If he's hearing me, he knows when Alhaji Wakawa was the MD in 1994, 95, 96. And what I know is that when they said that plant is at about 95% completion or 90% completion, yes, but we found out, you've looked at, we've not been able to get the blast room funnel work. And then you've not been able to now also look at the coal, the dolomite. Like the dolomite is just here in Abuja. And then you have to build a rail line, or you find a way of by that you can be tapping it from here. And then you are talking of getting the coal, which we are thinking you can get somewhere in Awe, in Nasarawa State. And that means you can either cross the river Benue to that Awe in Nasarawa here, or you build a rail line to be able to take. Those are the 5% they are talking. I want to commend this particular administration that they've been able to open up Ajaokuta Itakpe to Alaja, and then there have been that rail line, I think, is working now. So if that is there, you can be able to transport goods, especially now that we use billet. You know, we cannot do billet in Nigeria, and we can bring in billet to start the Ajaokuta steel rolling mill. And it will also help the Itakpe iron ore. We must now again bring new technology to be able to excavate all those iron ore there. So we will concentrate as government to complete the Ajaokuta, because Ajaokuta will be where it will open any of our industry that want to. When you say close, when I'm talking of closing the country, Ajaokuta is one place that is in my mind, because it's from Ajaokuta we can start, and we must complete Ajaokuta so that we can take. And I want on Ajaokuta, we must know that no country that would like your own country to be better than theirs. It is ours to assemble our technicians and put up enough fund to complete that Ajaokuta. No country grow without steel. We can see what Americans are doing with Canada in terms of, because of the steel dispute. So what are we doing?
Okay, let's pick this. Okay, I think we lost that. You have to call us back. Okay, there's this clip here we have, and then this is just one of the press conferences that happened today. The coalition of United Political Parties had met today to talk about how they uncovered plans to alleged plans on the onslaught of the embattled Chief Justice of Federation, CJN. I would love us to have that clip, and then we'll talk about it. But let's pick this call before we go on that to watch that clip. Hello, good evening. Hello, can you hear us? Okay. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ajaokuta.
Ajaokuta. Okay, Mike from Ajaokuta. Good. What's your contribution?
Yes, in line with the first question asked.
Okay.
In line with the first question asked about what he would do when he becomes the president of the country, as far as Ajaokuta is concerned. Is it likely to use foreign investors, or is it the opinion that Ajaokuta Steel Company should be considered with federal government money? I want to make a mistake.
Okay, he's going to react now. Go ahead.
For us, we believe that we as a country, no country will come and put your Ajaokuta together, because they don't in the first place want your Ajaokuta to work. So as a government, we put money into it, complete the Ajaokuta's rolling mill, put the road or rail into where we can get the dolomite here in Burum in Abuja, put up into our way where we can get the coal, be able to now also make sure that, and I commend this government, as I said, for completing Ajaokuta Itakpe Alaja steel rail line, and we will put Nigerian money to build our industry, because that will be the starting point of our industrialization, and we will not give it to any other country to come and manage for us. no country will allow your industry to take off. We have been doing this for over 50 years, 40 to 50 years. It has not worked. If we come in as government, we'll put our money where it will help our country. Okay. That will declare that place as a national emergency and make sure that we complete it.
Okay, I'm sure you heard it from him. Let's have this clip, and then when we come back, we'll pick your calls, and I also wanted to contribute to this. Just stay tuned.
Gentlemen of the press, it is with heavy heart that we have summoned you today to notify the world that democracy is in clear and present danger in Nigeria. The meeting of the Presidency Cabal also resolved and directed the new Acting Inspector General of Police that the immediate arrest of the CJN on the same Tuesday, as the effort to be made to ensure he is served with the same order same day, following the issuance of the arrest warrant, will be his litmus test for his speedy confirmation as the substantive Inspector General of Police. They further resolved that another petition will now be forwarded to the National Judicial Council, and that petition has already been drafted in the chambers of a senior advocate of Nigeria whose office is located in Central Area, Abuja. This petition will precede the other frivolous and trump-up allegations which will be submitted against Justice Mary Odile, Justice Cletus Mweze, and Justice Rose Viver, just to scare them away and tarnish their good names, and open the door for the eventual takeover of the Supreme Court by the APC.
And there you have it. The coalition of United Political Parties came together to brief the media on the alleged issues around the CJN. What's your take on this?
When you talk now, you said allege. For us, we believe that patriotism should drive our utterances and how we view the country. For us, we believe that the country comes first, and issue of alleging, if you are alleging, you must substantiate it. We must allow things to happen. We have seen, let the law take its course until we build a country where they don't say because you are, so nobody is above law. Let the law take its course. Let's try people based on what they've done, not based on political belief or sentiment. This is what I want to say.
Okay, let's pick this.
Whatever I say, okay.
I'm sorry. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Kure, calling from Kaduna.
All right, Kure from Kaduna, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to ask you a case here. I don't know which position is still contesting, but I'm of the opinion, what is his party doing if they happen to come to the throne come February 2019? What are they going to do with this fighting of corruption on one side? Today, if you are not in APC, if you jump to from PDP to APC, then you become a saint.
All right.
So what is his party doing? And secondly, about this insurgent something. As a civilian, you can see the general, he cannot even be able to tackle the insurgent. So what are their plans in their party? Have a nice day.
All right, thank you so much, Kuri. Okay.
For us, how to fight corruption is that we are Africa. I would always tell you that everything we want to do must be inwards.
Okay.
This administration already we have the list of people that have taken Nigerian money out, and we on our own say, look, we have the list, we'll publish the list, and we'll call, if you are from, I don't want to mention towns so that, let's assume Ayangba.
Okay.
Yeah? We said, okay, we'll call the chief or your king, the people from your kingdom, and say, come, your son have so line up outside the country. We want him to bring this money. We know that in Ayangba, probably you can put off fishing industry, you can put off cassava processing or whatever, or yam processing or palm oil. We'll say, okay, 50% of this money, we'll make sure that he put up a factory that all of you, your children, it will be yours, and 50% go back to the country.
Okay.
I think the community will help you, because that's where it's coming back to be buried.
All right, let's hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Benjamin Emmanuel calling from Michigan, local government, Adamawa State.
Wow. All right, from Michigan. All right, go ahead. What's your contribution?
I want to ask the president about local government autonomy. If God helps them to get into power, what will they do about local government autonomy?
Okay, okay. All right, he will speak on that. He's here. Thank you so much.
On local government autonomy,
yes.
We'll remove two things. One, we'll remove state electoral commission. The election will come from the federal, so that they will have autonomy. And we'll abolish issue of joint account.
Okay.
They get their money direct from federation allocation.
Okay.
So that they can, in fact, if you do that, you see the local government are becoming robust, because they can now look at economic activities around them, and take comparative advantage of crops around them, and improve on that, have their money. And then if you remove the SEC, they will have mind, any party can, in fact for me, party should start from local government.
Yeah, of course.
Party should be able to win his own local government. If I'm chairman, I should win, but you can't win in this way because you have SEC, where the state government control the electoral body. So therefore we abolish that, and we abolish joint account, and we give them, and we allow local government, because development will start from bottom, not from up.
Okay, this is our last call for the evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Niger State, Bida.
From Niger State, Bida. What's your name?
My name is Shehu Ibrahim.
Shehu Ibrahim. Go ahead.
Yes. Yes, I want to contribute to that. What will happen to the power state, Nigeria power, time, because of the money when they put the is too high.
Okay.
Yes, I'm begging of the President, I beg, make you do something about it, I beg.
All right, thank you so much from Niger State. There you have it. He's saying so much about the power supply in Niger. So what's a little differently?
Let Niger take comparative advantage of the resources God give Niger State, which is power. Let the government, that's why I'm saying we decentralize. We forget about national grid. Yeah, you can put on national grid. The Niger as a state can invest in that power out and then give to their people and be able to grow local industries around Niger State.
Okay. All right. That is the much we can take. Thank you so much, Mr. Shitu, for coming. In one last sentence, let's just have your final words before we leave the set.
Let us be patriotic. If we are patriotic, our country will come first, and then we'll put the country in a. By 2023, Nigeria will be a different country. I believe that Nigeria is a great nation. Let's join hands to create a country that will work for us. Okay.
Yeah, you've heard it from him. Let's join hands and be patriotic to see that we have a country that can work for every one of us, because Nigeria is for you and I. So you can always come out to do the positive thing to ensure that Nigeria is the best place you can live in as a citizen. And that's the much we can take this evening on Governance Today. Thank you so much for having to come on set with me this evening. We hope you come back.
I will, definitely. Definitely.
He will be back here,
yes.
And so you can call in to contribute the next time he appears on set. It's been amazing having you there. Thank you so much for those that called in. Let's do this again on Monday, same time, 8 to 9 p.m. every weekday. It's called Governance Today. I am Anete Patrick. Bye for now. Enjoy your evening.